Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Two-Way Street Coffee House. For those of you who are regulars, you're welcome. For those of you who are first-timers, where have you been? We're hybrid again tonight, which means you can either be here like you are, or you could be home in your pajamas and watch via the camera up on the roof there, the ceiling. It only sees the stage, or might see David here. Hard to say. You just never know.
He's legit, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So anyway, my name is John, one of the volunteers here. We are a hardcore listening room, which means you'll get one plate from me, and then Jerry's got a hook. Oh, okay. A test? Yeah, eventually. It's a new approach now. It's a new approach. Volunteers tonight. We got Tim doing the sound. We got Ruth and Jennifer doing the counter. Here comes the test. What is my name? See, he knows. But he's here. Sometimes I'm Bob. Right, Betsy? We've been in this room for 53 years. So you take 53 years, 52 Fridays. It's been at least a moment. A lot of people have been standing where Tom's at tonight. But tonight, Tom is here. Mr. Tom Kastle is here. The last time he was here was pre-pandemic, as best I can figure. There are flyers on the table, and you can see who's going to be here in May and June. And I'm letting you have one more sip of water before I introduce you. We're pretty loose here. All right, with all of that, Tom, do you have some music for us tonight?
I do.
Well, take it away, buddy.
The magnificent is quite sad. It's about a magic trick on that happened 43 years ago at Marlando's last magic show. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my wife to the stage. For my next trick I will put her in this cage. Lower down the satin sheet from above. When I remove it, you'll become a dove. Marlando raised up his magic wand high in the air. People in the audience just sat on the edge of their chairs. Bated breath, anticipating. He opened his mouth and said the wrong thing. Then Marlando the Magnificent made his true love disappear. Now he hasn't seen her in years. She was supposed to become a bird, but he used the wrong magic word. Poor Marlando could not believe his eyes. People in the audience themselves were quite surprised. Beautiful young lady that was just standing there now had up and vanished into thin air. Right away Marlando began to panic. He had not yet learned that trick. Someone in the audience shouted out murder. He said, I love her. I said, I never meant to hurt her. And Marlando the Magnificent made his true love disappear. Now he hasn't seen her in years. She was supposed to become a bird, but he used the wrong magic word. Oh, I forgot to mention, there's a little sing-along part. Come on, Two-Way Street is kind of famous for singing along. We'll start out easy. It's only one word. One magic word. Goes like this. Abracadabra. Come on, y'all. Abracadabra. Abracadabra. People at home, too. Abracadabra. So Marlando was arrested and quickly prosecuted. Judge's decision went undisputed. He was in quite a bad position, but his only crime was being a bad magician. And Marlando the Magnificent made his true love disappear. Now he hasn't seen her in years. She was supposed to become a bird, but he used the wrong magic word. Story of Marlando the Magnificent is sad to tell. All those years he just sat alone in his cell, practicing the same trick for 43 years. He finally made his wife reappear. Thank you. All right. Oh, it's nice to be back. And you at home? It's a little box that's screwed into the ceiling. It's really neat. There are people in pajamas. There are two people that are nude. Yeah, you can't see the monitor from here, but it's really cool. It's like a Zoom, you know. It's really neat. I've been doing a lot of weird things lately. COVID kind of turned my life upside down and sideways. So instead of doing a lot of coffee houses and folk clubs, I've been doing a lot of theater. And one of the things I just started to do was a play about Joe Hill, which a couple of you have seen. And honest to God, the only thing I knew about Joe Hill getting into this project was I dreamed I saw Joe Hill last night and Joan Baez at Woodstock. And then I went down the rabbit hole. So we were talking about getting songs to get people to sing. This is my favorite one from the show. And we've done it in Madison, Mount Horeb, the University of Akron, Michigan State University, and in August we're going to the Woody Guthrie Center in Tulsa. So this is a Joe Hill song, and it's a song about, well, let's put it this way, from the intro in the play, Joe really didn't believe in an afterlife, though he could picture himself up on Mars in the next life, organizing canal workers. And Joe had no use for preachers who promised workers a better life, but only in the next one. I guess the message was, and perhaps still is, just tough this one out, do your job, and do what you're told. Stop complaining. So this is the tune. I know at least one person who knows this. Long-haired preachers come out every night just to tell you what's wrong and what's right. But when asked about something to eat, they will answer in voices so sweet. You will eat by and by, that glorious line in the sky. Well,
That's a lie.
Yeah. You know that part. Okay, so just let's have this more like a revival. Okay, so can I get an amen? Amen. Can I get an hallelujah? Hallelujah. Okay, so when I sing a line, sing it back. You will eat by and by. And then when we get to that glorious land in the sky, sing way up high. That glorious land in the sky, way up high. Work and pray, live on hay. And then the best part, at the end of every chorus, you can point your finger at whoever you want and say, that's a lie. You'll get pie in the sky when you die. That's a lie. Now, I didn't see any finger pointing there. You're pie in the sky when you die. That's a lie. Now the Star Nation Army, they play. And they sing and they clap and they pray. Till they got all your coin on the drum. And then they tell you when you're on the bum. You will eat by and by, that glorious land in the sky. Work and pray, live on hay. You'll get pie in the sky when you die. That's a lie. Now if you work hard for children and wife, try to make something good in this life. Well, you're a sinner and a bad man, they'll tell. And when you die, you will surely go to hell. 'Cause you will eat by and by, that glorious land in the sky. Work and pray, live on hay. You'll get pie in the sky when you die. That's a lie. All right, now you got everything down. Got the spirit, you got the melody, you got the finger pointing at this point. So we're going to change a couple of the words. You'll be all right. Working folk of all countries unite. Side by side we for freedom will fight. When the world and its wealth we have gained, those grafters will sing this refrain. You will eat by and by. When you learn how to cook and how to fry, chop some wood, it'll do you good. Then you'll eat in the sweet by and by, that's no lie. You will eat by and by. When you learn how to cook and how to fry, chop some wood, it'll do you good. Then you'll eat in the sweet by and by, that's no lie. All right. Thank you much. I grew up in a union household in Chicago. My dad was a printer, and I just kind of took it all for granted. And I really wasn't political very much until 2011, because I grew up in Chicago and we only had one party, so it was kind of worthless not to. My cousins were in the park in '68, but I was like 8 years old and my mom wouldn't let me go. But the world that Joe Hill was in, that was a little bit different. We do a whole section about the Bread and Roses strike in Lawrence, Massachusetts. And to basically get to a long story slightly shorter, it was 1912, and half the children in Lawrence died before they were 6. And life expectancy was 39. So this play definitely took a deep dive into some of this. This is one of Joe's songs about another organizer by the name of Elizabeth Gurley Flynn. I have the wrong song in my brain. I am definitely having more senior moments as we go along, which would kind of scare me, but I've been having senior moments since I was 16, so I don't really mind much. are women of many descriptions in this queer world as everyone knows. Some are living in beautiful mansions, are wearing the finest of clothes, are blue-blooded queens and princesses, with charms made of diamonds and pearls. But the only and thoroughbred lady is the rebel girl. That's a rebel girl, the rebel girl. To the working class, she's a precious pearl. She brings courage, pride, and joy to the fighting rebel boy. We had girls before, we need some more in the industrial workers of the world. For it's great to fight for freedom with a rebel girl. Yes, her hands may be hardened by labor, and her dress may not be very fine. Yeah, heart in her bosom is beating, that is true to her class and her kind. And the grafters in terror are trembling when her spite and defiance she'll hurl. For the only and thoroughbred lady is the rebel girl. That's a rebel girl, the rebel girl. To the working class, she's a precious pearl. She brings courage, pride, and joy to the fighting rebel boy. That girls before, but we need some more in the industrial workers of the world. For it's great to fight for freedom with the rebel girl. For it's great to fight for freedom with the rebel girl. Thank you. Yeah, so I moved up to Wisconsin about 16 years ago now. Time flies. It's really kind of strange. Two-way street, 53 years? Wow. I remember. But never mind. We're not even going there. But as I'm driving south from Madison, and I'm starting to cross over some of the Illinois rivers, and of course a lot of you know this next song. I always dedicate this to Ralph Fries, the canoe guru of the Midwest. And Ralph's widow, Rita, just passed away a couple months ago. And they were amazing, amazing people. And one of the last times I saw Ralph, I was driving down from Madison, because Rita had called me the night before, and she said, you know, if you want to see Ralph, you better come down right away. So, okay. So I get in the car, I drive down the next day, and I get to, I don't know, like the Des Plaines Oasis, and I call up and I say, hey, do you need anything? You want milk, or, you know, can I pick up something on the way there? And she says, no, Ralph's not here. He's at the shop. I was like, he's at the shop? Okay. So I get to the Chicagoland Canoe Base, and I open the door, and there's nobody there. And I go all the way to the back of the store where his little office was, and I thought to myself, oh crap, I'm going to be the guy who finds Ralph Fries dead. He's going to be hunched over his typewriter, and so I go in the office, and there's nobody there. So I think, oh God, where is he? So I check in the bathroom, I'm looking in the storage room, and I finally go next door to the shop. And there's Ralph working at the forge, doing blacksmithing and making a couple of stone cutters for an Italian stone cutter that was standing next to him. And I said, what happened? And he said, I don't know, I just felt better today. So fired up the forge, and here we go. Ralph's doctor said he lived 3.5 years longer than he had any right to. I'd like to submit it was just stubbornness. So this is one of Ralph's favorite songs. Lie, lie, lee, lee, give me your hand. You know? Lie, lie, lee, lee, give me your hand. Lie, lie, lee, lee, give me your hand. There's many a river that waters the land. Now across the plains that afforded the Vermilion, saw the little Wabash and I followed the Apple. The Calumet's muddy, the Rock River's clear. Down by the Umbra I courted Madeira. And it's lie, lie, lee, lee, give me your hand. Lie, lie, lee, lee, give me your hand. Lie, lie, lee, lee, give me your hand. There's many a river that waters the land. Now the broad Illinois runs rocky and winding. The crooked Kaskaskias weaving and gliding. And old Lincoln sang 'em on horses that plain. And I never will walk by the Umbra again. And it's lie, lie, lee, lee, give me your hand. Lie, lie, lee, lee, give me your hand. Lie, lie, lee, lee, give me your hand. There's many a river that waters the land. Now she hugged me, she kissed me, she called me her dandy. The Mackinaws are rocky and the Kankakee's sandy. She hugged me, she kissed me, she called me her own. Down by the Umbra, she left me alone. And it's lie, lie, lee, lee, give me your hand. Take it. Lie, lie, lee, lee, give me your hand. Lie, lie, lee, lee, give me your hand. There's many a river that waters the land. Usually these songs, these 19th century ballads are kind of formulaic. You know, the boy meets girl, they fall in love, she leaves him, things go into a minor key for 37 verses. But this one has what Alvin McGovern calls an optimistic last verse. That's the way I've been doing this song for decades at this point. In fact, I was doing this at a library program for some kids probably about 6 years ago, and I started talking about being an optimist, and I realized 6, 7-year-old kids might not know what I'm talking about. So I didn't know what to do. I just asked them. I said, so how many of you know what an optimist is? And I swear, this is what they said. There's a little boy, he's about 7. He raised his hand. He said, an optimist is one of those things that swims through the water like that. And a little girl shortly after raised her hand, and she said, an optimist is someone who sees the glass of lemonade as half full instead of half empty. Not only did she nail it, but she used lemonade instead of water. So I figured the guy in this song, he's had his heart broken, but he's still an optimist because he's a boatman. And he's wandering around the rivers of Illinois, and he notices wherever he goes that the girls of the Fox, they're plump and they're pretty. I never look at anybody when I sing that line. The Spoon and the Coopin have many a beauty. The Chicago flows slowly as girls by the score. So down by the Umbra, I'll wander no more. Lie-lie-lee-lee, give me your hand. Lie-lie-lie-lee-lee, give me your hand. Lie-lie-lie-lee-lee, give me your hand. There's many a river that waters the land. Lie-lie-lee-lee, give me your hand. Lie-lie-lie-lee-lee, give me your hand. Lie-lie-lee-lee, give me your hand. There's many a river that waters the land. There's many a river that waters the land. Thank you. Oh, man. It's a great old river tune. The other thing I've done, which is kind of out, I wasn't expecting to do, is most of you probably know I do a lot of sailing, or I did until Discovery World sold Wisconsin's flagship last year, yes. So now, a 300-mile round trip to go sailing for a day I'm not probably going to do a lot of, but I still love it, and will do as much as I can. And occasionally, you can work as a sailor, but sometimes you have other jobs that come under that whole umbrella, like marrying people. And because I don't know if you've been on boats much, sooner or later someone will come up to you and go, "You're the captain," usually drunk, "You're the captain of the ship, can you marry us?" And the answer is no, not legally, unless you have internet ministry certificate of any kind. So I think I'm the World Christian Fellowship something, and then the Universal Life Church. I don't know, I've got a couple of them. And when I was in Michigan, I was captaining a boat for the Michigan Maritime Museum called Friends Goodwill, and I had a couple of couples who I married on the ship, and as far as I know, it was totally legal. And just a few, and last year I married, 2 years ago, I married some friends on the Dennis Sullivan. This July, I'm marrying 2 other friends, but we're not doing it on a boat. So I'm not sure exactly why they asked me to do it, but I'm doing it anyway. And this is my default wedding song. I don't really know why, it just turned out that way. But I've done this at a whole bunch of different weddings. So if anybody's thinking about tying the knot, I've got cards, over there. And also I have recordings over there at the bar, and they're just pay whatever you want. So like a tip jar, but just take a recording with you too. So this is my default wedding song. I didn't write it for any of the couples I married, but they don't know that. I wanna dance with you in 3/4 time. I'll step your way, you can step mine. Simple and easy, just me and you, without labels or promises, unless you want to. It's socially acceptable, touching for 2. I wanna dance with you. Wanna dance with you. If you'd be so kind, we might even kiss, sure no one will mind, at a ballroom or wedding. Just tell me when, like lovers or sweethearts, strangers or friends, and all in a night that may never end. I wanna dance with you. lifetimes or hours, they're all contained here. And if you say yes, we won't need a band. Forever in a moment, if you'll take my hand, and I will follow what the moment demands. I wanna dance with you. I wanna dance with you. Get the brace off there. Let's see, some nautical songs, since we've been talking about that. Let's do. You have to have a concertina if you're doing sea songs. There we go. Let's see. This one is kind of a unique one. Y'all know the song Barnacle Bill the Sailor?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so there are versions of this song. If I ever did hear, you'd never see me again. We are in a church, after all. But this is a unique one. This one goes back to January 1942. And they basically, a couple of guys rewrote it as a recruiting song for World War II, specifically the Pacific Theater. And I always do this because I've always been interested in the Pacific because my dad and my uncle were both in the Pacific during World War II. My dad was super lucky. He was Army anti-aircraft, which meant he went all the way from California to Japan and never saw any fighting. My uncle, though, my mom's older brother, he was in the Marines, and he was in Saipan, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa. So totally different. So I always do this for the two of them. It's called Here I Go to Tokyo. So here I go to Tokyo, says Barnacle Bill the sailor, to beat that dirty so-and-so, says Barnacle Bill the sailor. They gave me leave to come ashore, to see the gal I had before, and here I am knocking at your door, cries Barnacle Bill the sailor. Who's that knocking at my door? Well, I forgot to tell you, I'll be playing both roles of Barnacle Bill the sailor and the fair young maiden. Who's that knocking at my door? Who's that knocking at my door? Who's that knocking at my door? Cries the fair young maiden. Now maybe she's waiting for another bloke, says Barnacle Bill the sailor. I catch him again and his neck'll get broke, says Barnacle Bill the sailor. Come open the door, it's only me. Who'd you think it was gonna be? Why, you're as nervous as a dog with a flea, cries Barnacle Bill the sailor. Oh, Bill, I'm glad to see ya. Oh, Bill, I'm glad to see ya. Oh, Bill, I've never been so happy to see anybody, cries the fair young maiden. Now you only see me for a minute or so, says Barnacle Bill the sailor, 'cause I'm on my way to Tokyo, says Barnacle Bill the sailor. Ah-hee-oh-hoo, come blow me down, I'll stick their noses in the ground and turn their bloomin' damper down, cries Barnacle Bill the sailor. Now, Bill, you shouldn't go. Oh, Bill, you should not go, 'cause you're getting kind of old, you know, cries the fair young maiden. Now the older I get, the tougher I am, says Barnacle Bill the sailor. I'll use my head as a battering ram, says Barnacle Bill the sailor. I guess I never told you before, it was me that won the Civil War. Well, I was a kid at 104, cries Barnacle Bill the sailor. Now, Bill, when you're coming home, oh, Bill, when you'll be home, oh, Bill, when you're coming home, cries the fair young maiden. Now, Bill, on before I'm back, says Barnacle Bill the sailor. All it takes is one good swack, says Barnacle Bill the sailor. If you're saying goodbye, you better begin, 'cause I gotta hurry and get to Berlin, or the Russians will take it before I get in, cries Barnacle Bill the sailor. So here here I go to Tokyo, says Barnacle Bill the sailor. The beat that dirty so-and-so, says Barnacle Bill the sailor. They gave me leave to come ashore to see the gal I had before, and here I am knocking at your door. Cries Barnacle Bill the sailor. Thank you. Well, I do one of Tom Castle's greatest hit, and it's really weird. I wrote Cold Winds back in the 80s, and Lee Murdoch recorded it, and a group in England and a group in the Netherlands, and then just recently, just last year, the Longest Johns, one of the biggest shanty groups in England, made 2 videos of it, and they're on YouTube. And they have really, really close, 4-part harmony. It's absolutely incredible. I usually get a couple thousand views on my YouTube. These guys are like 190,000 views of Cold Winds, and I haven't seen a penny. So we'll see, but at least getting the song out there. And also, a friend of mine, if you sign up for the newsletters, I've just sent out links to a friend of mine who's going for an advanced degree in filmmaking, and he took 2 of my stories through song and stuck them in this 4-part TV series for the University of Wisconsin. So this song is in a television show, like a closed circuit kind of television show. Totally out of context, but it's really kind of weird to see it appear there. And it goes like this. Cold winds blow across the harbor, cold winds on the inland sea, same winds that called our fathers, cold winds are calling me. Ice forms on deck and whiskers, light a fire and stay below, shut up tight, the winds all whisper, pass the bottle, it's time to go. Cold winds blow across the harbor, cold winds on the inland sea, same winds that called our fathers, cold winds are calling me. Rise up and down the hatches, mind your hands, they're cracked and sore, check the lines on your way inland, it's time to get a job ashore. Cold winds blow across the harbor, cold winds on the inland sea, same winds that called our fathers, cold winds that calling me. Sun and spray and full moon autumns, wood and water, frost and stone, early snows mean early winters, taste each season as it goes. Cold winds blow across the harbor, cold winds on the inland sea, same winds that call our fathers, cold winds are calling me. let's see. I'm going to end up this set. John asked me to tell him when the last song was going to be. So, here we go. Just a hair more. There we go. So, wonderful Canadian songwriter, actually a Scottish Canadian songwriter by the name of David Francie. And I've seen him a couple times in Madison, and he wrote this song. See, what songwriters can do sometimes is you can talk your way into stuff. Not always talk your way out of stuff, but you can talk your way in. And he talked his way onto a merchant vessel a few years back on the Great Lakes. And they said, well, you can come on and write your song and all that stuff, but you got to do the work too. So you got to stand watches with the crew. You got to eat with them, sleep with them, do the work, everything. And so he was up on the bridge one night, and he noticed the mate in the logbook. He was going through the logbook. He said every entry ended with all navigational lights burning brightly. He said, what's that mean? And he said, well, as long as we keep our lights on. If you look forward, there's a red one on the port side there on the left side. There's a green one on the other side. There's a white one up there and another one in the back. He says, as long as we keep our lights on, we can lose our radar and our AIS ship identification system and all that stuff, as long as everybody keeps their lights burning. So he took that line and shortened it slightly to this, which is eminently singable. We had all lights burning bright. We had all lights burning bright. Keep it dry. We had all lights burning bright. We had all lights burning bright. We were standing the last watch at the end of the day, 3 days on the water from out Thunder Bay. Through Michigan, Huron, and into St. Clair, on a bright day in summer, I found myself there. Dead calm on the water as blue as the sky, and we waved from the water as we slowly passed by. And we entered Lake Erie, it was late in the day. You could see that storm coming from miles away. We had all lights burning bright. 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 And the storm overtook us, and it fell like the night, and the point and the island, they passed out of sight. We sailed on rock steady, set course through the storm, and the rain fell upon us, and the wind drove us on. We had all lights burning bright. 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 And I thought to myself, I'd be just like that ship if I kept my lights burning on every trip. And my watch, it was over at the end of the night, and I wrote in that logbook, all lights burning bright, 'cause we had all lights burning bright. 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 Thanks much. We'll have a little break and be back in a bit.
Like Tom just said, we'll take a short break. Washrooms are out the door and to your left. I never start a second set when A, somebody's buying merch,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
or B, if there's a line for the washroom.
Oh, yeah. point.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. All right, so we'll take a short break. We'll be back with a whole new second set in minutes.
I tapped on the guitar and realized you probably driving stuff crazy.
All right.
So it feels like you're in here. Depending on what they're saying, yeah. I could be dicey. Actually, a friend of my sweetheart's, she's a blacksmith and a blade maker, and she has a lot of friends who are phenomenal, makers. And there's one guy, what's his name? It's just known by his initials, I just met him. He's one of the best folding knife makers in North America. And we were talking, and he said, yeah, I've been pretty much a hippie craftsman my whole life, He says, then you go and retire. What's the special? And you see, you call up your, every year what you need, and it's like, $12,000. Nothing. $600. $35,000. Nothing. That's it. Life passing before your eyes. Oh yeah.
He said it got, because they do some like military applications, special alloy metals.
Oh yeah.
But he says, foundry work and all that, it's not glamorous, but to get people interested in it, to do something, it gives them some recognition.
Oh yeah.
And a goal.
We have a really good friend who does very, very high-tech machine stuff for 3M. And he's also a blacksmith who makes like cast iron tools and all that stuff. And forged iron. And it's really amazing.
I have like Edwin autograph on the check for $15.
And yeah, it's
But it came to folks, but it was sad.
I mean, not like there was back in the day. But
Yeah, after he was in Clark.
Right, and also after he was at Westwood.
one of the things that
Down in the
for
grave.
craftsmen.
Oh, yeah, I think you told me that. No.
He told us.
Small companies.
Oh, okay, all right, so, hang on. Before I forget, I'm gonna add that. That's Wesley's, what? Wesley's what? Wesley's Place.
But I've seen guys make really, very fine,
may have mentioned to you, last summer, I spent 6 weeks in West Virginia as a scout base called the Summit. I'm going back this time, instead of doing unskilled labor mostly, I'm gonna be guiding scouts and their leaders through whitewater.
So you're gonna go to Fostoria Glass too? Doing Fostoria Glass
Where's that?
in West Virginia.
Be specific.
First place you get to when you're coming across from the Midwest.
Go what town? Well, here, I'll get this here. I think I'm gonna,
I believe that
I was gonna try and stop in Charleston.
now they probably push a button. Right.
Fostoria Glass, West Virginia.
Some Dutch couple who are sailing through the Arctic or,
Well, they got a museum actually.
England, you know, living on boats and big, tall ships that are.
Moundsville, something or other.
Well, only well underway. Only underway.
Well, Fostoria Glass, do I remember correctly that's very inexpensive? Inexpensive.
Not very far, like 1,700 miles on the lakes. Because my license is Great Lakes and inland. So it's, and it doesn't. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was, back for was it?
332 miles.
Kate McBride's mother lives in West Virginia, where John Brown did his big
I've been
deal.
sailing for, I don't know, 25 years, 30 years, and I've never done a Mac race.
And that's where you catch the train to go down to
But I remember I was on a scooter.
I'll tell you what's interesting.
And they advertised we were taking
It was named for,
watching the start of the Mackinac.
I can't remember his
It's
name.
gonna be exciting.
There's
because
this
you've got all these people
railroad
jockeying
stop,
and get to see on the
Amtrak
start line. You can't
It's
get
over
over
in the middle of nowhere.
penalties and all.
It's near the base that I just mentioned. And I believe they take a side height with the cruise over. So I'll be going down what they call the upper river, which has some fairly intense rapids, but not the most intense. Over the course of 4 days, scouts have
Every 3 years,
breaks.
actually, there'll be a scholarships coming in.
But one of the days, I believe they hiked to this third with an Amtrak. If I had a picture, I'd show you, you could grasp it. What's interesting too is along the channel for the new river that I'll be on either side there are railroad tracks for the coal trains.
During the race.
Which they're still mining, as you might guess. I'm not sure if they do underground mining. So this place that I'll be on, at one time had a combination of strip and underground mining. But they, as you might guess, the underground mines are pretty well protected, so you don't get in. And the strip mining, interestingly, I'm not sure when they started being careful about it, but they clear off the bird, take out the coal, put it back, and so you've got these nice flat spots that, that I believe is benefit that the scouts enjoy, you know, for different camps and so forth.
Oh, yeah. I've got,
But it's an interesting state. From where I will go in and come out, there's about an hour, hour and a half worth of windy roads that you take at a slow speed to get out, and then to the, not quite the interstate, but faster roads. It's one of the poorest states in the country.
Look who they have for the center.
excessive inflation. Both guys are.
They were talking about it on the radio this afternoon. If Trump got back in, here's things, his policies, and if they were implemented, what it would do to inflation.
He is not a conservative, he is only a narcissist.
And I'm not super happy because
That's all he is.
nobody wants him. That's decade of Medicare.
The stuff that he's talking about once he gets in,
I can sail with him, but I don't
get
have
headaches very often.
Massachusetts maritime again.
It's unbelievable. I mean, in some of the statements he's making, it shows greater and greater desperation.
I'm gonna save up my money.
I like this thing
Go to
with
different ports. So I'll just be
his
a
defense attorney
local
Dave,
trollop in, all these Mediterranean
when
towns.
she was talking with,
Wait for my sailor.
yes,
Totally.
she said that Stormy Daniels was just trying to get some publicity out of this for having sex.
I started in Chicago, there was a boat in the eighties called
I
Charlie.
know where you're going, but that's funny. Go ahead.
She said, never want to live with publicity. Or talk
There was a whole bunch of
publicly.
discussion.
What did, I won't be too explicit in mixed company here, but did either of you see the interview that Jimmy Kimmel had of Stephanie Clifford?
No,
Well, anyways, let me try to put it delicately. So they put together this piece of wood with a series of mushrooms on it. And she was supposed to identify which mushroom was most appropriate to Trump. And so she picked one of the very smallest of the mushrooms. Was that delicate enough for your sensibilities?
And we argued every day who was gonna be the decade.
But
Why should we just take the responsibility?
do you listen to the Jimmy Kimmel?
I was the mate yesterday.
All right, so I get him on YouTube,
I was the mate, you're
and
gonna
I just started listening to him maybe for the last month.
Bill's gonna be the.
He is so funny. I just love, he just rips Trump one way or the other. And they put this stuff together so well, his writers.
There was a guy in
He
Birmingham.
delivers it well.
The name of the boat was Commander.
in fairness, people go there.
I've watched some of his, but
And it was the Commander.
he's more subtle in life than from the little I've listened. Is that a fair statement?
Probably, plus, the
Um,
other one that I like
But
is
basically,
Closer
it was like
Look.
$750,000.
Closer Look.
And what he did was he lived on the boat, was in Chicago.
Yeah, he's
And
good.
the guy wanted to go sailing with him.
I mean, all those guys are good. It's just,
Then they take it
and
down
maybe,
the city.
maybe my taste are for the more outrageous statements that human makes. One of the funniest ones, I can't remember where I heard or read it, but you know, Trump is getting a day off to go to his son Barron's graduation, high school graduation. Well, it was pointed out recently, I think on the Midas Touch, which I listen to all too much, that he's got a rally in Wisconsin, Michigan or something scheduled that same day. Go figure.
People who were in the Mediterranean somewhere.
Did he forget Barron or did he forget Brittany?
Years ago. And
No, Brittany's sort of falling off the face of the earth.
kept the boat.
She was trying, while he was in office, she was trying to get a little play, but, and I think he even settled down
Not kept.
South Florida.
Just like keeping him varnished and everything.
And it still
It's like,
eludes me how he could have ever gotten in office, how people could have voted.
There is a union scale. So the people want to
oh, yeah, we can go through some.
and the union scale is 120 men.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
August 10th.
although I think it hurt Bill was so using the term deplorables, I still love it.
I've been talking about details for the last 2 months.
I'd have to confess that I sort of held my nose even voting for
Can't
Hillary.
wait. heard that the losses in Russell County just haven't been.
I told them my potential for
I gotta
jury
make
for
sure I
Trump,
have some
it
days.
should be in this measure to former presidents and losers, people who lost. So, both Clintons, George W. Bush, Al Gore. I said, the last one, one of my sons said, I'd like to see that because
Oh
he's
my
dead.
God. I was doing a humanities program.
I will confess that two of the presidents I think probably did the
And I was
best job
going down
for
to
Republicans.
Iowa, and there was a
That is,
and it was so fast and so sharp. I could feel the snow underneath the knee. And I was just like, oh,
Dwight
God,
Eisenhower.
next
There have been a lot of clunkers.
Like
There's
where
been a lot of clunkers in there. Clinton rode the wave of
put up, I would say,
technology and the fact that the recession is really ending just as the election was
and there were,
going on.
just right truck
put him
drivers
in
and
power.
everything. There were
Except for me and Joel.
like a dozen trucks in our
Except for when Joel and I
and
spent all
I
the
sat up till 2 in the morning with the security guys.
He's
and
getting
cops
better. I
because
saw him today.
I wanted, I needed to get coffee. I got a correction. And it just wasn't gonna happen. And then the next morning, so they
Johnson was a mixed bag.
and then the next
He was a
morning,
crummy guy.
everybody had a buffet breakfast.
I know.
He's doing
Personally,
You don't like the way you picked up the dog by the ears?
well, I'm thinking that he was a philanderer big time.
I had no idea what to expect.
I mean, of course, Kennedy was a big philanderer. I recently saw some kind of a video on audio on women at Kennedy and military.
Northwest side. There was a park.
I knew there was American Monroe and maybe and a couple others, but I had no idea that the list was
Actually, I had a farm.
But today,
did it. The one, you know, the guy that I think was our most honest president and one of the least effective was Jimmy Carter. I mean, Jimmy Carter, I mean, what's funny, remember that Playboy interview thing? He had lust in his heart and then hurt him? But, you know, no, but how ridiculous it was that they made an issue of that. You know, and you see all this other nonsense. And remember, Adlai Stevenson put down some because he'd been divorced.
It was fun. Boy. High school
And,
coffee
and,
house.
I tell you a funny one, so my almost ex and I.
Garage rock and roll bands.
Joking. So anyway, so,
Irish pub,
somewhere around 2 in the morning, she wrote me up saying she had a bad dream that Trump won the election.
Oh, God, yeah, I saw him.
And I said,
Well, I didn't see the brothers.
I reached over and I hit stand on the phone to
And,
Google.
I played at the Shannon.
And I thought my investments were getting them to throw down the toilet.
Oh, wow.
And I was shocked that the reverse happened. Of course, under Biden,
Dirty Dicks and Dirty Nellies and the
this
Irish
last
Irish eyes and the Irish
actually year and a quarter or so has been the
Ring
best
Cherry.
I think we've had as a country in terms of stock going up. I mean, it's been unbelievable. I'd like to think that when I have invested, there was some amount of cleverness on my part. But I'd have to confess that most of it was just a good
Yeah.
and admittedly overspending that I've complained about a while ago. The beneficiaries you know, that he's sleeping almost every day in court. Yeah,
Hello, everyone.
been making a big deal.
Welcome back. We're back. We're still the Two-Way Street Coffee House. This is still Tom Kastle.
It's, yeah.
My name is still John.
Bob.
What about the test?
We already did the test.
You skipped the test.
No, I did the test. My heckler here. Next Friday in this room, same stage, we have Katie Oates coming in, and that should be a wonderful thing. This coming Tuesday, we have BYOS. Bring your own song, thank you. 7 to 9. George Mattson leads that group. Sit around and just kind of jam. You can bring a new song, bring an old song, just hang out and jam. So anyway, I think I've run out of stuff.
Okay.
Would you like to take a turn?
Yeah, we'll do it again. What do you say?
Tom's going to take a turn.
All right. It's so quiet. We need. Let's have a round for John. And we go. Oh, the cuckoo, she's a pretty bird. And she sings as she flies, but she never sings cuckoo till the 4th day of July, the 4th of July. And the nightingale sings so high in the tree, and sometimes she's singing just for me. Yeah, she's singing just for me. And if I was a blackbird, you know I'd whistle and sing, and I'd follow the vessel my true love sails in, my true love sails in. And the hummingbird outside my window has the purest of tongue, but she never will sing. But she thinks that she's alone. She thinks that she's alone. Oh, the cuckoo, she's a pretty bird, and she sings as she flies, but she never sings cuckoo till the 4th day of July, to the 4th of July. Thank you. Yeah, getting into interesting projects. The fellow I mentioned who's getting that advanced degree in film, we did a film together a few years ago. And he asked me to write a song for it. And the easiest way to write a song is, in the tradition of Woody Guthrie or Lead Belly, is to basically just steal the song. And so I got the script, and I saw a whole bunch of really nice lines I liked, and I just kind of stitched them all together with this kind of pattern here. We all have choices from the second we arrive. We all make choices just to stay alive. So gather round the table and lift your glasses high for our choices until we die. We all tell stories from From the time we all arrive, we all tell stories while wearing our disguise. So cross your heart and hope to die with a needle in your thigh. I'll tell stories until we die. We're all one family, bringing bread and drinking wine. One big family, telling bloody merry lies. Eyes open for the bad guys, with the good girls safe inside. We're all one family until we die. We all have choices. From the second we arrive, we all make choices just to stay alive. So gather round the table and lift your glasses high. I'll tell stories until we die. We all have choices until we don't. Thank you. Let's see. I'm going to go over to the other one. Skipping around a bit. A lot of what I do is just based on the conversations I have. And my sweetheart's a tall ship sailor and ER nurse and also a blacksmith. And we started sailing together 16 years ago, come to think of it. And we might be sailing apart because she's an ER nurse. She got an offer to go sailing with our old captain from the schooner Dennis Sullivan, Tiffany Crewan. She is now the captain of a boat called the Ernestina, great big schooner built in 1877. They're going to take that ship transatlantic, Mediterranean, all the way down to Africa probably. And they're looking for a couple medical officers, and she's going to be one of them. And I say good for her, but on the other hand, I don't know what exactly to do with that. It's a little hard, you know? So I figured what I'm going to do is I'm going to be I'm going to be a ship follower. I'm going to save up my money. I'm just going to go to different places in, Europe, places I've never been, and maybe do some busking in Barcelona, or who knows. But this is a song about being away from the one you love. And got this song from Brian Bowers, actually. Opened for Brian at a show in Madison a couple of years back, and he did this song, and then he said, "You ought to learn that song and play it to Mariah." So I did. Brian is the only human being on earth who is more allergic to cats than I am. It's been a year since last we met. We may never meet again, and I have struggled to forget, but my struggle was in vain, for her voice lives on the deep, and her spirit comes at will in the midnight on the sea. Your bright smile haunts me still in the Your bright smile haunts me still. Now I have sailed foreign stars, and I have wandered hazard's path. I have seen the storm arise like a giant in its wrath. All the dangers I have known, restless life can fill. Though her presence is now flown, her bright smile haunts me still. Though her presence is now flown, her bright smile haunts me still. At the first sweet dawn of light, as I gaze upon the deep, and her form still greets my sight, oh, the stars their vigils keep. As I close my aching eyes, sweet dreams my memories fill, and from sleep when I arise, her bright smile haunts me still. And from sleep whene'er I rise, her bright smile haunts me still. And your voice lives on the breeze, and your spirit comes at will in the midnight on the seas. Your bright smile haunts me still in the midnight on the sea. Your bright smile haunts me still. Let's see, I've done this song in a while, but I was thinking of pulling it out tonight. Speaking of my sweetheart, and we were talking about blacksmithing back there, and she took me to a gathering of blacksmiths a few years back in a little place called Tunnel Mill, not too far out of Rochester, Minnesota. And it's a gathering of blacksmiths every fall. It's a really, really cool place. And in one of the barns where they had a couple power hammers and a couple forges, there was a plaque on the wall, and it said, "By fire is iron born, by fire it is tamed." And I thought, that's a song I'm going to steal. I did not steal the plaque, I just stole the words. And yeah, well, I found out, yes, it was, because I was a little worried about the copyright, but it's the Roman author general and philosopher Pliny, wrote it, 1,600 years ago or something, so no copyright issues anyway. So that's where this song comes from. In fire's iron born, by fire it is tamed, and like it we are formed, by fire all the same. Through sweat and tears, 6,000 years, a legend, lore, and fame. In fire we are born, fire we are tamed. In fire we are born, fire we are tamed. The blacksmith stands, he's spreading up with a hammer in his hand. with a face that's chiseled from his stock and castings made of sand. Successive generations we carry on the day. In fire we are born, fire we are ta'en. In fire we are born, fire we are ta'en. Tossed roll a molten ball of flame. There's silver spoon and frosted stock and proper boats that pray. By fire cold is purified and given a new name. In fire we are born, fire we are ta'en. In fire we are born, fire we are ta'en. Wind and water, fire and earth, we court them just the same. In abundance of the fields, on the fields of the slain. In its time the divine summons tongues of flame. In fire we are born, fire we are ta'en. By fire we are born, fire we are ta'en. By fire we are born, fire we are ta'en. Yeah, yeah. Ho, ho. Ooh, la da da da. Ooh. Sing along. That's what we need. Sea shanties. I've been waiting for sea shanties to get popular for 35 years. And they get popular, they go viral, and we get a global pandemic. It's not fair. And there are a couple on that recording. I couldn't remember what was on my own recording. I'm not sure if this one is, actually. But sea shanties are actually tools. And the reason I know this is because I've used them as tools, especially on educational vessels. I got to sail with Pete Seeger on the Clearwater in the 90s, and that was the hardest work I've ever done. They did this thing, I don't think they do it anymore, it was called the pumpkin sail. And you started in Albany and you sailed down to New York, or 3 different legs. And you basically get into a port, you set up an entire festival, you play all day, you unpack the festival, and you move to the next port and the next port. And it was insane, it was just great. But that's what inspired so many other projects all around the world. If there's a sailing ship doing environmental education, it's because of the Clearwater. And that's in several different countries, including up in Traverse City, Michigan, the Inland Seas Education Association. I worked with them 2 weeks to 2 months a year for 22 years, something like that. So I know I've done this song with at least 7,000 children. And if you got a crew of 4th graders or recalcitrant 8th graders or graduate oceanography students, it's the same thing. You want them to all pull on a line at the same time, and you can either go 1, 2, 3, pull, or you can teach them a song. And the song I found to work the best is a song called John Kanaka. And Kanaka just means a person in Hawaiian. And it's a great song because for some reason, kids of all ages, even like memory care people will sing John Kanaka in a nursing home and nothing else, except You Are My Sunshine, but that's it. And so I'll teach you the song, and normally I would not be playing a guitar because you got your hands full, but I'm gonna do it anyway because it keeps us on key. And all you gotta do is repeat after me. Kanaka. Kanaka. John Kanaka. John Kanaka Naka. John Kanaka Naka Tulaye. And And you do it like this. John Kanaka-naka-tula-hey. You can skip the work part though. John Kanaka-naka-tula-hey. I thought I heard the old man say, John Kanaka-naka-tula-hey. Today is a holiday. John Kanaka-naka-tula-hey. And it's tula-hey, oh tula-hey. John Kanaka-naka-tula-hey. We're up, we're gone at the break of day. John Kanaka-naka-tula-hey. We're outward bound for Frisco Bay. John Kanaka-naka-tula-hey. And it's tula-hey, oh tula-hey. John Kanaka-naka-tula-hey. Now don't you hear the captain say, John Kanaka-naka-tula-hey. You can go ashore, spend your pay. John Kanaka-naka-tula-hey. And it's tula-hey, oh tula-hey. John Kanaka-naka-tula-hey. Now don't you hear the mister say, John Kanaka-naka-tula-hey. Just one more pull, then belay. John Kanaka-naka-tula-hey. And it's tula-hey, oh tula-hey. John Kanaka-naka-tula-hey. Tula-hey, oh tula-hey. John Kanaka-naka-tula-hey. Thank you. So you can go ashore, collect your pay. And of course, there are all kinds of songs about the adventures you get into while you're doing that. And this is my favorite one. And it goes back to the 1840s. Talks about sailors going into port and spending their money. And then when their money runs out, then the landlord, the barkeeper, or somebody comes up and says, Jack, why don't you get up and give John your seat? Because he's got the money and you don't. And it was true in the 1840s. It was true in the 1940s, according to my dad and my uncle. And occasionally still in the Great Lakes. Because ships may come and ships may go, wherever the sea doth roll. Each sailor lad, just like his dad, he loves the flowing bowl. A trip ashore he does adore, with a girl that's plump and round. When your money's all gone, it's the same old song. Get up, Jack John, sit down. Come along, you jolly brave boys, and that's my grog in the jar. Oh, proud of riding up Sheriff, the jolly rolling car. And when he's home, it's then you'll steer for some old boarding house. They'll welcome him with rum and gin, they'll feed him on pork souse. He'll mend and bend and not offended his eye, and they're up to the ground. When your money's all gone, it's the same old song. Get up, Jack John, sit down. Come along, you jolly brave boys, and lots of grog in the jar. Proud of riding up Sheriff, the jolly rolling tar. It's then he'll steer for the Indias or Japan. In Asia there the ladies fair love the sailor man. He'll go ashore and on a tear and buy some gallant gown. When your money's all gone, it's the same old song. Get up, Jack John, sit down. Come along, you jolly brave boys, and lots of grog in the jar. Oh, proud of riding up Sheriff, the jolly rolling tar. And weather beat, too old to muck about. In some grog shop, they'll let him stop till the bells calls him out. He'll reach his eyes up to the sky, saying, boys, we're homeward bound. But when your money he's all gone. It's the same old song, get up, Jack Johnson down. Come along, you jolly way boys, that's the grog in the jar. Oh, the biting of sheriff, the jolly rolling tar. Come along, you jolly way boys, that's the grog in the jar. Oh, the biting of sheriff, the jolly rolling tar. All right. Thanks much. Let's see. Oh, this is a tune that's on that recording. Come to think of it. Actually, there's some people here from the Chicago Maritime Festival. It was what we did 13 years, I think. It was an amazing festival, and we brought in singers from all over the world, and to the Old Town School, and also to the Chicago History Museum. Also, for those who are interested in nautical stuff, how many of you know there's a maritime museum in Chicago? Not too bad, okay. How many of you have been there? Okay, that's good, yeah, that's not bad. So it's at the Bridgeport Arts Center. And the Bridgeport Arts Center, when you get off the highway to go to White Sox, you just take that road, and right before you hit the river, turn right. Yeah, it's right there. It's a really, really cool thing. In fact, they just opened a new exhibit about Bill Pinkney, the first black man to solo circumnavigate the world by the Great Capes, who was a friend. He passed away this last year, and also a new exhibit about the wreck of the Lady Elgin, which is something you definitely want to check out. It's really cool. But one of the singers we brought in was a Frenchman by the name of Philippe Norel. And Philippe had this song I really, really loved, and it's basically his version of a French whaling song. And so this is my version of his version of a French whaling song. This is also my version of French, so be lenient, okay? Retrouvert du Sami, où me paye la loulala. Retrouvert du Sami, où me paye la loulala. Pique la balade, sur les baronnets, pique la balade, j'y vais naviguer. Pique la balade, sur les baronnets, pique la balade, j'y vais naviguer. En mille mers j'ai navigué, où me paye la loulala. En mille mers j'ai navigué, où me paye la loulala. Pique la balade, sur les baronnets, pique la balade, j'y vais naviguer. Pique la balade, sur les baronnets, pique la balade, j'y vais naviguer. I have sailed 1,000 seas, où me paye la loulala. I have sailed 1,000 seas, où me paye la loulala. Pique la balade, sur les baronnets, pique la balade, j'y vais naviguer. Pique la balade, sur les baronnets, pique la balade, j'y vais naviguer. Mer du Nord, mer du Sud, où me paye la loulala. Mer du Nord, mer du Sud, où me paye la loulala. Sur les baronnets, pique la balade, j'y vais naviguer. Pique la balade, sur les baronnets, pique la balade, j'y vais naviguer. The seas to the north and the seas to the south, où me paye la loulala. Seas to the north and the seas to the south, où me paye la loulala. Pique la balade, sur les baronnets, pique la balade, j'y vais naviguer. Pique la balade, sur les baronnets, pique la balade, j'y vais naviguer. Retrouvert du Sami, où me paye la loulala. If I could find my love again, où me paye la loulala. Pique la balade, sur les baronnets, pique la balade, j'y vais naviguer. Pique la balade, sur les baronnets, pique la balade, j'y vais naviguer. Pique la balade, sur les baronnets, pique la balade, j'y vais naviguer. Pique la balade, sur les baronnets, pique la balade, j'y vais naviguer. Thank you. As I said, I was never really political until I moved to Madison. And right at the exact time, Scott Walker came into office. And I started going to different events and singing a lot of songs with a lot of people. And the thing about Madison, it's to me, it's somewhere between Washington, D.C. and Mayberry. It's got both of that. I mean, it's a state capital. It's one of the biggest research universities in the world. And at the same time, if I walk across the square and I don't see somebody I know, I feel like I was ripped off that day. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. And I was really lucky. I fell in with a bunch of different singers. I was the tenor banjo player for the Forward Marching Band. There are very few people who have been banjo players in marching bands. But it was an ad hoc community orchestra that has actually been touring now, and really, really amazing stuff that they do. There's also a couple people who became political candidates and legislators. And my personal hero, Lydia Hester, who was the campaign manager for a friend of mine, Tag Evers. He was running for city council. And Lydia was his campaign manager, won the primary, won the general election, and she wasn't old enough to vote. She's touring around Europe right now. She's studying international studies and political science, and it's kind of like, and I asked her when she was 17, I said, why are you doing this? And she said, because my mom took me to the protest when I was in 6th grade. That's where this song comes from. I just did it at a thing called the Wisconsin Grassroots Festival just a couple days ago, and we had a special guest. We had Garrison Keillor. It was really kind of cool, and he's looking a little older, a little more bedraggled, and then he starts telling stories, and holy mother, it's, man, just, wow. It was an excellent thing, right? So this is one of the songs I did. And the Wisconsin Capitol is a really interesting building. It's no building in Madison is allowed to be taller than the Capitol. And they've been able to keep the developers off of that for years now. And it's also a building that's burned down a couple times. And no matter what, people really love it. And there's a great farmer's market there every Saturday, and it's a great gathering spot no matter what. And, so they tried to keep us out of there one time. And that's where this song comes from. And I got to do it in the correct key, otherwise it'll be better. Whose house? Our house. Never thought a single building would mean this much to me. Whose house? Our house. Is a question and a chorus that is sung by you and me. Through rain and storm and fire, she remains to this day. There is no building higher, and we want it that way. We'll never let a tyrant keep us out or away. Whose house? Our house. They bolted all the windows just to keep out you and me. Whose house? Our house. They locked the doors before us, but forgot we had the key. And still in the rotunda, liberty shines bright, and justice maintains balance between wisdom and might. And fighting Bob the Fowler still keeps watch on each night. Whose house? Our house. Never thought a single building would mean this much to me. Whose house? Our house. It's a question on a chorus that is sung by you and me. We gather here together, every woman, child, and man, from farms and towns and cities, and all across the land. Today the there's 100,000 who are on your door's demand. Whose house? Our house. They bolted all our windows just to keep out you and me. Whose house? Our house. They locked the doors before us, but thank God we had the key. Whose house? Our house. Whose house? Our house. Whose house? Our house. Whose house? Our house. Thanks very much. Now, the one thing about the polarization in this country, I put down to one thing, actually a couple things, but one of them is for everybody to agree on at least one chorus, on one source of news. Like, I think most people here are old enough to remember Walter Cronkite, Huntley and Brinkley, and like actual news people, you know? And I get into debates with some of my conservative friends, and I'll talk about Fox News actually. When Fox News covered the protests in Madison, Bill O'Reilly had this clip, and it was people in AFL-CIO hoodies punching people, and we were all thinking, where did this come from? And someone, I believe it was somebody on the Daily Show, found there were palm trees in the background, and
In Madison.
in February, and there are just no palm trees in Madison in February. So my sweetheart and a couple other people, they went to every party store within 50 miles and they bought every inflatable palm tree they could find. So whenever a Fox News truck would go up, these palm trees would appear from anywhere. It was just great. And of course, my conservative friends say, well, Rachel Maddow is just Bill O'Reilly, just for vegans, that's all, But I do know one news source that we all have in common. I discovered it here in Chicago as a student, but it actually started in Madison, Wisconsin. And it is the best news source. In fact, it says the best news source on the front page. So it must be true. It's a sing-along too. There once was balancing on my old TV. The news you get from David and Chet was all that you could see. But now one source has deemed the news that's fit to be like Kennedy, Beck, and what the heck, the entire GOP. Now it seems to me, in the 21st century, all the glamour and the glitter from Facebook and Twitter, there's so much for us to see. News internet by phone, news budget stripped to the bone, like the Monitor and Journal and graffiti round the urinal. They're in a class all of their own, 'cause you can't fool me, I'm sticking to the onion. I'm sticking to the onion. I'm sticking to the onion. Oh, you can't fool me, I'm sticking to the onion. I'm sticking to the onion for all my news. So take a tip from me, I'm sure you will agree. Don't place your bet on news from the net or Al Jazeera, i.e. The Onion is by far more fair than NPR or the BBC or you and me or pundits at our bar. 'Cause you can't fool me, I'm sticking to the Onion. I'm sticking to the Onion. I'm sticking to the Onion. Oh, you can't fool me, I'm sticking to the Onion. I'm sticking to the Onion for all my news. Best reporting of its age, with a kinky romantic sage. It's the best news source, why yes, of course, it says so on the very first page. Humor is the best, it's accurate more or less. Never glean discourse from just one source, or else tools this S. 'Cause you can't fool me, I'm sticking to the Onion. I'm sticking to the Onion. I'm sticking to the Onion. Oh, you can't fool me, I'm sticking to the Onion. I'm sick to the onion for all my news. Thanks much. I want to finish up with this tune, and thank you so much for coming out. Mostly because it's Mother's Day. And for all you mothers out there, when my mom passed away, it was hard to process. And on her last day, she had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma for 6.5 years, but had great quality of life up to the last couple of months. It's pretty amazing. And on her last day, we had home hospice. There was a couple of us around, and she was laying in bed. She really couldn't really talk anymore. But then came this one moment where she looked up somewhere and said, "Where are we going now?" And died. And I was trying to get a song for it. And one of my great regrets in life is that my parents never lived long enough to meet Mariah, and vice versa. So I put the two of them together, and just like Woody or Leadbelly, I stole the song to make it happen. And thanks so much for coming out, and thank you, Two-Way Street volunteers. Thank you. Roses love sunshine, violets love dew, angels in heaven know I love you, know I love you, know I love you. Angels in heaven know I love you. My mama got sick this Savo. She asked an angel, where we going now? Where we going now? Where we going now? She asked an angel, where we going now? Now you are the angel of a morning tonight. Mama will love you, 'cause you're my heart's delight. You're my heart's delight. You're my heart's delight. Mama will love you, 'cause you're my heart's delight. Roses love sunshine, violets love dew, angels in heaven know I love you, know I love you, know I love you. Angels in heaven know I love you. Angels in heaven know I love you. Thank you very much.
Amazing, Kastle. You're not leaving me, are you?
What?
You're not leaving, are you?
Oh, that's a tradition, isn't it?
I told you about this earlier. He gets so wound up in his music that.
I know.
What can I say? Anyway, no one gets out of the coffee house without an encore.
Okay.
Now remember, we talked about this. And you were gonna save a good one.
Oh,
Oh,
shoot. Actually, no, I did think of a great ending song.
oh, good.
Yeah, well, what happened was I do a lot, like a lot of folk singers do, we do a lot of what I call senior gigs. They're just like audiences like this, except maybe with one less knitter in it. But, this is a song that I remember when I was like 4 or 5 years old. My parents would take me to weddings, and you know, the wedding band, if you heard a wedding band play this song, you knew it was probably the last dance of the night. So I was thinking about doing this song for decades. So finally last year, 2023, I just went and got it and learned the song. And as I was learning the song, I was thinking, this is a horrible song to do at a wedding. Probably the worst song. It's about a guy running out on his family, committing suicide, and getting married and having the marriage last a week. Let's see, you probably know it.
Do you think you know it now enough to sing it?
Last Saturday night
Okay.
I got married. Me and my wife settled down. Now me and my wife are parted. What? I guess I take another stroll around town. It's got a great chorus. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. Sometimes I live in the country. Sometimes I live in town. Sometimes I take a great notion, just jump in the river and drown. That's all. Happy verse two. Irene, good night. Mayor? Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. Got this verse from an old fiddle player friend. Sometimes Irene sleeps in pajamas. Sometimes she sleeps in a gown. But when they're both in the laundry, Irene is the talk of the town. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. Stop your rambling and stop your gambling. Stop staying out late at night. Go home to wife and family. Stay there by the fireside light. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. So I was doing this song in a nursing home in a place called Waunakee, Wisconsin. And a lady came up to me at the end and she said, you know, my mom's name was Irene. And when I was a little girl, about 80 some years ago, my dad would come home from work every day around the same time, and he knew my mom would probably be in the kitchen. So he'd sneak in the kitchen door, go up to the sink or the stove, wherever she was, grab her around the waist, twirl her around, look her in the eye, and sing that song to her as he waltzed her all around the house, singing, Irene, good night. Irene, good night. And he never missed a day. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. One more time, all we go. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. Thank you much. Take home. Thank you very much.
Tom, when you're going down to Tulsa?
Carol, I think I.
Second.